Hello, Googleization Nation. Welcome to Better Leaders, Better Workplaces, a GGG Unleashed podcast with thought leader Vivian Blade. I'm Ira Wolf.
And I'm Jason Cochran. In each of Vivian's episodes, we'll cover the latest trends and emerging practices around creating resilient workplaces. Let's begin.
Hello, Googleization Nation. This is Vivian Blade, your host of GGG Unleashed, Better Leaders, Better Workplaces podcast. In the last episode, I highlighted some of the most pressing trends you need to watch and brought your attention to 5 strategic focus areas that need to top your agenda as HR leaders and business leaders. Make sure you go back and listen to that episode if you missed it. In this and in upcoming episodes, we're going to be exploring strategies to help you execute around those strategic focus areas. The very first item I talked about on that agenda is the need for greater value creation from HR. Now, HR leaders, I really want to talk to you here for a few minutes. My question for you is, do business leaders and employees outside of HR really see you as partners who add real value? Your answer to this question is probably not where you want it to be. Many of the HR leaders and professionals I talk to tell me that they're not being invited to the table where significant strategic business decisions are being made, even as we're in this environment of ongoing, unprecedented change. We're also seeing this show up in various studies. McLean and Company conducts an annual HR trend study, and the results of their 2022 study found that though HR was heavily sought after during the COVID-19 crisis, HR is less involved in strategic discussions in this post-COVID period, and their perceptions about their effectiveness have declined. When asked about the effectiveness of human resources, 54% of HR professionals who responded to McLean and Company study said that HR is highly effective. Compare that to 33% of non-HR professionals who believe HR is highly effective. So there are definitely significant gaps to close in perceptions about the value HR brings to the business. What were some of the areas where perceptions of HR's effectiveness were lowest? That was in areas of recruiting, of providing great employee and candidate experiences, and in supporting the business in change initiatives. I was having a conversation with a leader in a multinational company during a welcome reception for their leadership summit. I was going to be presenting a leadership workshop for them the next day. This leader saw in my bio that I was named one of Engage At Least top 100 global HR influencers, so he had plenty of HR questions for me. I was particularly taken aback, though, by one of his questions. He asked me, "Who does HR really work for?" Then he went on to describe what he perceives as HR's role in their company. HR mostly takes care of recruiting, hiring, and compliance stuff in our company, he said. They're usually not involved in solving the day to day problems and needs within the business or for employees. They tend to have their own agenda. We pull them in when we have questions or need something HR related. As companies struggle with employee recruitment, with retention, and areas like engagement, HR's role is so critical to lead their organizations in building better workplaces. And I believe that HR is so well positioned to lead ensuring that your organizations have the purpose, the talent, leadership, structure, the capabilities, and the human centered culture to successfully adapt and grow in this never normal business environment. How do you begin to close the gap then and be seen as an essential strategic partner? How do you get invited into that inner circle of leadership In my keynotes and workshops with HR professionals, I often challenge them with these questions, and we explore opportunities to break down the silos and better engage with the teams you support. Today, I want to share 3 strategies that will shift your ability to add greater value and to be perceived as a valuable partner. Your first strategy is to be curious. Fundamentally, understand the business outside of HR. I think this is one of the biggest opportunities for you. How does work really get done? How does the business generate revenue and net income? How do you read financial statements? What are the financial and operations lingo and acronyms that are commonly used? Early on, when I worked for GE, I learned the importance of understanding the business if I really wanted to be successful in my roles and to be a serious contender for advancing my career. A friend of mine, Paul Butler, is a partner with New Leaf Training and Development. And one of the areas they train HR professionals on is business fundamentals, such as the areas that I just mentioned. A few weeks ago, we were both delivering workshops for the Inland Empire SHRM conference in California, and the room was full for Paul's workshop. A lot of HR professionals stay in their lane. If you do, you can't create the kind of value the business needs from you. Your second strategy is to be actively engaged in defining the vision for the business. Here are some things you want to think about. Where is the potential for growth for our organization? And what are the revenue, the operations, product, and service goals to support that growth? What human capital trends will impact the future of your business? Is the organization structure designed to support growth? Are HR goals and your HR department structured in a way that supports business growth? You can, as HR, convene business leaders to proactively consider how can we work together to build capacity for growth. Often, HR is responding to a directive rather than having a seat at the table to help define what the human capital strategy should be. Your third strategy for growing your value as a business partner is to be visible and present. This means you want to make yourself available, actively engage, and contribute in meaningful ways. Here's an example. If you want to learn the business, you really need to immerse yourself in it. That means you have to spend time with people, observing and talking with them to understand their part of the world. This also helps you to get to know people, to build relationships, and open up those lines of communication. Here are some other ways that HR leaders have told me they create greater visibility and presence. I love this idea. I work at different sites instead of only out of my office so that I can get to know others in their realm instead of only when they're approaching my office with issues. Bringing donuts or breakfast burritos also helps. Another leader shared, I build a relationship with a leader who doesn't understand my value. Find interest in that person's daily struggles. I'll wrap up this strategy with this comment. Break down silos by asking to be involved in meetings and then participate. Add value to goals and invite others to provide relevant input and to help achieve goals. I hope these ideas have given you some practical steps you can take to get and to maintain your seat at the table and add even greater value. Decide which one of these strategies would be best for me to get the ball rolling and just start there. Since we didn't have time to talk about all of the strategies today, I've created a resource for you to download. HR Seat at the Table, How to Get It and Keep It. You can check the show notes for the link to access it. Human resources leaders, now is your time. Your organization needs HR's value. Now, for those of you who are not in HR and are listening today, I'm not putting all of the responsibility on HR's shoulders. You also have a role in breaking down the silos. Invite HR to the table and make room for their voice. Add human capital to the agenda in your business discussions. Build a bridge to partnership. I work with organizations to build better leaders and better workplaces. Let's work together to enhance yours. And connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm always sharing resources and generating conversations about the topics we talk about on this podcast. I'd love to hear from you.
That's it for today's episode. Thank you for tuning in and learning how to develop better leaders and better workplaces. We'll be back next month with Vivian for another episode. But until then, you can access some of Vivian's resources by visiting her website, vivianblade.com. And remember, don't let the shift hit your plans.